Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Mr. Dude and I'm an artist from Lagos, Nigeria, and I just want to say thank you all for the loves and the comments and the shares for my first video, and for that I've come to deliver my second video. So guys, the fun thing about October, November, December is that there's going to be a whole lot of fun-filled activities, and there's nothing like art exhibitions for me, and I hope that matters to you too, because Gallery at the LandMark are having on displays exhibitions, and they are going to be having the very first set of art talk series, which is tagged OD Storytellers, which is on display storytellers, and they're having their very first set of storytellers to be TY Bello, Kola Tubosun, and Mr. Akinsanya. Although I missed the very first talk by Mr. Akinsanya, I stepped in right when Femile was rounding up his guitar performance in collaboration with Ini Abasi, and it was the most beautiful sight to behold. Listen. Just listen to that. Like, even at the ending, that's the one of the most beautiful things to listen to, and that was promptly followed by TY Bello speaking on the theme Wielding Your Power, and she described it aptly by comparing to finding our own space in the society, and which is often what we all did growing up, or what we still currently do, and she tapped into our own personal experience to explain this further. Here's the best part.
The fight usually isn't a physical one with anybody else. You know, as we grow up and we move from nursery school to primary school to secondary, it's very unlikely that any of us are still fighting anyone physically anymore. You know, it's very, very, very unlikely that you're ever thinking about how to throw a punch or how to defend yourself physically. Yet we are constantly fighting for our space in the world. As an artist, when people attribute success to you, is the biggest challenge that you have, because then you have to spend the rest of your life living up to that name. Now, every single week of my life, from like 2005 on to now, I have created photographs of people at least 3 times a week. And yet I find out that even though, you know, I have mastered my own way of interpreting people, I find that the best way that I've learned how to work is to learn to become a beginner again with every single work that I do. So rather than embracing my prowess and embracing my strength and embracing what I know that I know how to do, the way that I fight to keep my space and win with that one person is to become a student again and learn again and start like I've never done this before.
So TY Bello concluded the talk of Wielding Your Power by stating the essentialism of collaboration. Everybody you're engaging on the path to your growth is a potential collaborator, and here's how she beautifully explained it.
Another thing that I found that has really helped me over the years in finding my space and in owning my space has never been to work alone. By nature, I'm not very social. I am literally, I know you can't see it, but I'm literally sweating blood standing in front of you right now. But I found out that I have found my voice as an artist more by collaborating with other people than I've ever done by doing anything by myself. But every single thing that I've found out that I've ever done in my life that has been impactful as a musician or as a photographer has been when I have come together with another artist to share ideas and bring ideas together. As when I started my journey, we didn't have many people to look up to who were established photographers. And so the way that we were able to make our way forward was to come together and collaborate. I remember in 2001, Kelechi Amadiobi, Uche James Roha, Amaizo Ejekere and I came together and we formed a collective called Depth of Field. Now, what is the importance of this, and why am I telling you all these stories when we're talking about power? What I am saying is that to really be impactful and to have your work and have your art have influence and really impact other people, you have to learn to be vulnerable first, in realizing that you don't know it all, that you will never be truly a master, and that you can never do it alone. As we continue to emerge as artists, and as we continue to find our voice and have people recognize our work and appreciate our work and to find meaning in our work, I feel like the more, in my own opinion and in my own experience, the more I move further on the journey, I find that I'm able to find that connection with my work when I allow myself to be vulnerable again and again, realizing that attaining or reaching a point of success as an artist is never really a straight line, but many round circles that you get to one point and you have to start all over again. And so, rather than feel like I will never attain power or that I will never become the best that I can be, I have to realize that at every point in time in my career, I will always find myself very close to the bottom of one circle as soon as I reach the top of it. So, whenever I get to that point where I feel like I have, gotten to that stage in my work, and usually I get there when I start getting bored with my own work and getting super and overly critical of my own work, I realize that, oh, again, I'm descending down this same circle and starting at the bottom again. And then the questions will always remain. How do I get to the top and how do I find my power? And for me, it's always been the same two things. Learning again, becoming a child again, finding new teachers in creativity again. And then the second thing that I found most useful to me in climbing up that circle is finding who do I collaborate with in this time? Who are my partners in creativity? Who will help me, bring out those ideas that I have, that I have been keeping in my heart, but I haven't found expression for. And so it is with us as artists. It doesn't matter how long you've been on this journey, to never be afraid to take in from other people, to take in from younger people, to take in from contemporaries, to take in from work that you don't even like, to take in from people that you admire, to take in from, to bring yourself to that level again where you begin to paint like you did as a child.
Because of how long this video is going to get, I'm just going to dive straight into the points Mr. Kola Tubosun made in his talk, because it is the most fascinating talk I've ever listened to. Now keep in mind that Mr. Kola Tubosun is a Nigerian writer, a scholar, a linguist, a cultural enthusiast and activist. So it's no surprise that his whole talk is woven about the appreciation of our language.
The day my father came to school to visit us in class, and I went to a private primary school, and as we often do when visitors came to school, we would stand up and say good morning, good morning, and then sit down, and then the parents would go to meet the teacher. But my father came, and we all stood up as usual and said good morning, sir, and he looked at everyone theatrically, pretended to be confused about what was happening, and said to everyone, which means in English, I don't speak English. Of course he did, and I knew that, but at that moment I was totally embarrassed for a reason I didn't understand until much later, that my father would come to school and embarrass me in front of my mates by saying that he didn't understand English. And then everybody recovered and they said, Ekarosa, because many of us spoke Yoruba as well. And then said, and then we sat down and he did his business. And what I found out, of course, was that the reason was we had imbibed this attitude, and the school had also beaten it into us, sometimes literally, that the languages we spoke were not valid or were not important enough. And that if you don't speak English, you're not smart, or you're not educated, or you're not important. When we spoke Yoruba occasionally in school, you get punished, or sometimes you paid a fine. And some of the mates were also empowered to report to you, oh, this person speaking vernacular, as we called it at the time. It was when I grew up that I finally realized that what he was doing was giving us the chance to understand that the languages we spoke at home and elsewhere were equally as valid as the ones we spoke in school. And then the environment we had at home, the upbringing we had, gave me a chance to become competent in the languages we spoke at home, Yoruba, and the one we eventually spoke outside. All the experience I've had, combined with the environment I went into to see that Nigerian languages had started to become less important in society, or the attitude had changed in such a way that people thought that when you spoke a Nigerian language, you were not educated, or when you made a mistake in English, it means you're not smart. Or that when you spoke a language that your people around you didn't understand, that you were kind of, you were a suspicious person. I'll give an example. When I used to teach English at a high school in Lagos, one of my colleagues would always complain that some of the teachers spoke Yoruba among themselves. And I would say, well, what's the problem with that? And he would say, well, it's a professional environment. Why are they speaking Yoruba? And I would say, well, are they speaking Yoruba in this class to the students? He would say, no, well, they're speaking among themselves. Yeah, but students are seeing them speaking Yoruba, that's a problem. I'll be like, okay, what if they were speaking French or Spanish? Would that be a problem? He said, no, because, he couldn't explain it, but the impression I got from that was that he valued foreign languages, more than Nigerian languages. The multilingual nature of Nigerian society is a very powerful asset that we have failed to tap into because of our suspicions of each other, because of the colonial carryovers and burdens we've, imbibed, and because of a number of, weird attitudes that, don't find justification in anything that's rational except our own fears. So a while ago, I was returning from a trip abroad. I wanted to go to the slide, this 13. And I took a picture of this. Many of you who are on Twitter may have seen this. That it bothered me that when you entered Nigeria, the only messages that welcomed you in the country were in English. And every other place I've been to, either Kenya or in Wales or in Korea, there were always more than one languages welcoming you to the country. One, to show you that this country is a multilingual space, and to showcase their own diversity, language diversity. But Nigeria has over 500 languages, and the only language that welcomes you to Nigeria is in English. And usually I've noticed this when I make statements that end up being controversial for some reason or the other about language in Nigeria, that people have this impression that when you say that you don't want only English to represent us, that you are saying that you want only your own language, Yoruba, for instance. Or sometimes they say, well, how many of these 500 languages are we going to put on a banner? Which is, in some ways, rational to ask, but not enough, because the airport is a big space. You can put different welcome to Nigeria in different parts of the country, or the airport space while you walk through, with art and designs and all of that. Move to the next slide and see what one person said. This is among one of the many responses I got. Dollar is at 500 plus. Is this what is worrying you? Of course, to say that, see how many retweets he got. Could you move down a little bit? Yeah. To tell you that he got a number of people showing interest in that kind of thinking. And what my response to this, of course, was our multilingual, multilingual nature of Nigeria is actually an asset that could, even responding to this response, bring the value of the Naira up. And I will give you a couple of examples. And Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, or Vladimir Putin, the President of Russia, you see them go to the United States. Whenever they are interviewed by journalists, they speak in their language. They speak English very well, they understand English. But when the journalists talk to them, they respond in their language. And then the journalists, the TV stations will have to find a translator to tell you what they're saying, and they write it on the screen. This is very little, but it provides a job for a Russian translator, for instance, who lives in those places, or a German translator who lives there. If a Nigerian president went abroad and decided to speak in Hausa, for instance. Now, Hausa is controversial because people look at Buhari, you can understand. But this argument I started it when Goodluck Jonathan was president, which is, when you go abroad, speak Ijaw when you're responding to a foreign journalist. They will be forced to find an Ijaw speaker who lives in that place and give him a job, and your work will be translated on the screen. Everybody says, wow, what is that about? Same thing with Obasanjo or Buhari. It shows, on one hand, that we're a multilingual country. The people there would understand when somebody translates it anyway. It's not like, what you're saying there, if you don't speak in English, they're going to think you're not educated. No, people come from different countries to speak different languages. People go on late night shows and speak their own language there. So this is one way of making money. This is one way of providing a job. This is one way of showcasing our multilingual nature of the country. And goes a long way to, I think, in my opinion, reduce the suspicions we have with ourselves when we hear someone speak a different language beside us, and we start automatically suspecting that they're saying mean things or bad things about us. So this is just, one of the things that occupy me at night. So I mentioned again, this is a photo I found somewhere in Lekki. Many of you may have seen it. Lekki Free Trade Zone, and it's subtitled in Mandarin. You would find this, people find this more comfortable to look at without raising any eyebrow. But if it was in Yoruba or Igbo or Hausa, all three languages, people would ask you random questions. So why are we comfortable with more different languages from outside? Why? There are countries where if you don't have your product subtitled in the local language, the product will not be able to come in. Why don't we have that in Nigeria? That's another way to raise the naira, for instance. So there are instances of power relations that exist in language, and I think opening our minds and being open to the different ways in which we can look at our multilingual environment can benefit us financially and also culturally. Even in English, there are a number of the English we write on the ATM machine. I was on the ATM one day and some guy was there for minutes, and I was impatient, and eventually he asked for the help he needed. And I found out what the machine was telling him was that he could only withdraw in multiples of 100 or something like that. Which is, for someone who's gone to school, something that I could explain. But for him, who was just a businessman trying to get money out, he didn't understand what he was saying, and I had to explain to him. So even when we were writing in English, we're not conscious of how we get the message across to people. So to solve the problem of a machine that is not familiar with people who get to use it, what about having audio as a means to access the machine? Having text-to-speech and automatic speech recognition where people can actually talk to the machine like we have in other spaces, in the language they're comfortable with, and have the machine respond to them that way. Those are the things that people who work in tech might pay attention to, and I've also worked in this space myself. So in conclusion, I think language is very important, and I think there are great opportunities in language, in technology, in education, in governance, and Nigeria as a big country, we haven't done enough to encourage and bring those language diversity and the value it has to bear on our future development. I think there's a lot of power in that, and I think it will be important for us to wield it properly and use it to our own advantage. Thank you.
All in all, after listening to this talk, I've been retaking a whole lot, and I've even been looking to adapt my language in a variety of projects I'm looking to take on. And I can only say that after listening to both talks, it is worth more hype than these talks got. Now let's go for the exhibition. Let's go see some art. There's so much possibilities to attending these art exhibitions, but a lot of people don't even know that these exhibitions are free. Like, you don't have to pay a dime. Exhibitions give you an avenue to network, to meet people, to tap into what's currently going on in the culture of art, of music, of performance, and even controversial issues that people are using arts to discuss. Creators in various ways. You could be a fashion designer, you could be a stylist, you could be an artist, or just love to take photographs, quality photographs. These are atmospheres you can take really dope shots without having to pay a dime for it other than your transport fare. Here are some pro tips I think you should consider if you're going to go for any exhibition anytime soon or coming to On Display. Go on a weekday if you're looking for less crowds, because if you're going to go on a weekend, expect that you're not going to be the only 2-3 people that are going to be in the space. There's going to be numerous people. But if you're looking to take quality pictures where the gallery is seen, go on a weekday. But if you're just looking to network, meet people, meet fellow like-minded, go on weekends, and you're going to have an awesome time. That's what's up.
If I'm honest, but if I called you tonight, would you pick up now? Are you with someone else when the sun goes down? Do you feel better now that I'm not around at all? Oh, cause I've been trying to move on, but it's been taking me too long. Can't live my life with you.
I had the luck of meeting one of the exhibiting artists. Is it Miss or Mrs.? Miss Korede Ojelade, and her works are one of my favorites because this in particular created my heart in every way because of the fluidity and colors. So guys, come one, come all, come with your friends and come see On Display at the gallery at LandMark. This place smells nice, super amazing, and the whole arts atmosphere makes you just want to sit, want to stay still and just absorb yourself in the expertise of these guys. So guys, that is it. That's a wrap on the works that are showing at the gallery at the LandMark, and it's quite weird to say, but that's the name of the place, gallery at the LandMark, and the theme of the exhibition is titled On Display, and the yearly exhibition that is going to be showing next year also. And I look forward to what 2022 holds for OD On Display at the gallery at the LandMark. So for now, bye guys. Don't forget to support my YouTube journey by dropping a like and commenting your opinion on whatever part of this video, and it would mean a lot if you could reshare and tell your friends about my page. Don't forget to subscribe also. Bye guys.